Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lamp.
We are now going to just quickly go over to our next guest who's standing in the wings, Richard Green, a highly experienced agri-business director and probably one of the fittest men in rural professional world. How many times have you cycled across New Zealand, Richard?
What do you know about me, Sarah, that I don't want to disclose?
Someone's telling stories.
Your friend Nick Pike's told me, and Jeremy Sarovich have told me lots of great stories.
No, well, we did the Length of New Zealand tour Aotearoa about 2.5 years ago over 21 days, a group of 5 of us, which was fantastic. And 21 days, yeah.
So what's your average per day on that?
117k, I think, on average. Wow. But it wasn't actually the distance, it was the elevation. It was about 1,500 metres of elevation. So
what route did you take?
Or you come down 90 Mile Beach, you come down there, and then you go through Hokianga, and then you go down to Kaipara, across to Puto Point, Kaipara Harbour, through Auckland, cut around the Hauraki Plains, and you come down through the bikeway through Waikato.
Oh,
there.
So it's a mountain bike. So
yeah,
cycling on the New Zealand mountain bike highway, effectively.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right.
So it was cool, and we've done also the Sounds to Sounds in the South Island, which is Marlborough Sounds to Milford Sound. So with a group of 12 of us, that's been fun.
Very, very cool.
We can talk about that all day.
Yeah, I know. And Jeremy Savage told me you're planning overseas trips and everything. You have actually spent quite a lot of time overseas and taking groups of farmers and bits and pieces overseas, Richard. In the conversations you're having here in the room, how close to reality is what you've experienced in market around what's coming at the sector?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, there's no insights I've got that haven't come out already. And it's actually, that's why you come to these sort of conferences, to actually see what you think's over the horizon. And, we talked yesterday about headwinds and tailwinds, and that's reality. There are challenges, but there's also big opportunities, and it's actually how we navigate those sort of things. And I actually I'm into these self-funded things. No one pays for me to go. I went to Harvard University, actually, in January. I've graduated from Lincoln, so the next thing was to graduate from Harvard.
Of course.
Yeah. And that was 3.5 days. And so a lot of the insights I got there were probably similar to what's coming through here. I mean, the huge demand for protein globally. Grass-fed, definitely a theme around grass-fed.
Do we underestimate the importance of that, do you think? But is it?
Yeah, it's just a move back to nature. I think, we're not the only ones that do grass-fed. And I know I'm involved in Lumina Lamb, and we're very much, one of our propositions is grass-fed, but, the Australians are also in that game as well. And there's always local product we're competing against. So it's actually about, you need to create a brand that's actually more than that. I mean, taste is important, and attributes and standards that sit behind that brand's really important. But grass-fed is a trend. So move to nature, I think, is really positive. A move to protein, but there's also, as we heard yesterday, there's a lot of headwinds as well. Yes. Geopolitical.
From a cyclist who knows headwinds and tailwinds very well.
Not a sailor, but a cyclist.
I was just wondering about any discussions that are starting to evolve more and more around advisory boards to farmers. We talked a little bit about this yesterday on the show, something that I'm interested in Countrywide in our magazine publication, our premium subscription, to continue to give more information to farmers about not just the role of why, but the how you should do it. And what you've seen, I think, across 8 farming businesses that you're on the board of.
Yep.
The difference between a formal board structure, the risk of being an independent director versus an advisory board.
Yeah. I mean, there's just whole levels of governance, isn't there? And I call it advisory board sort of an informal governance arrangement, but you can achieve the same from an informal as you can from a formal. And so, it probably started for me. We've had different businesses that we've invested in and owned over time, we being my wife and I, and so we've often had boards, always had boards around them actually, just to challenge us, and I guess that's the role that I now play on advisory boards as well, and it's probably just broadening the discussion, and a lot of the people that have set them up have wanted their discussion broadened, and just probably it's the questions and the outside thinking that comes from that, and a chance every quarter. You don't want them too often, or they drop into management. That's some of the how. If you hear of 6 weekly advisory boards. To me, they're talking about day-to-day management stuff. Where if you're thinking quarterly, you're talking about the big rocks in the bucket. You're talking about what your strategy is as a business, what you do well, what your real strengths and weaknesses are. You're talking about risks, what's the things that could derail you and how you build resilience around that and what your mitigation strategies are. And you're talking about succession, not just for the wealth, but you're also talking about different stages, succession around key people in the business and some of those real strategic things. And I often think one of the real benefits, and I report to boards too, one of the real benefits for the board meeting for me isn't often the discussion, although that's good. It's actually the thinking I do before the board meeting, and it's the reporting I do to the board, because it forces me to sit down and look at my business and the KPIs and what we discussed last time, what I've achieved in the last quarter, and that way of thinking. So when you come to the house, Sarah, I mean, it's, for me, it's a huge honour when I get asked to be on someone's advisory board, and I've first got to decide, can I add value? Because it's quite a personal thing. There's a big element of trust when you bring people into your inner sanctum. So they've got to be people that you trust will be there to help you achieve your goals. It's not about their goals, it's about your own personal goals as a family, and help you explore what they might be. And someone who has a level of expertise, but knows their level of expertise, so they don't try and step out into areas they don't know about. And you're only one of a team. So you've got to be someone who can play a team game as well. And I think that's some of the how as well.
If you're acting as an independent on an advisory board like this, is it helpful or a hindrance if you personally know the family or the farming entity that you're working for?
Probably doesn't worry me, because I can be brutal and blunt even if I do know them. I don't think that's...
But maybe not your uncle or your auntie.
No, maybe not family. It's probably that's probably, you're right, not family. But if it's someone you know, and probably not close friends, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
someone,
that's
that's
the question, right. So where is the line then?
Yeah, well, someone, to me, I'm not hung up about formal governance versus informal. And sometimes a farm consultant is just as good as an advisory board, or sometimes a good friend that asks the right questions at the right time can be just as important, valuable. It's just someone that you're prepared to share and be open with and tell the real issues to, and be prepared then to act on what they tell you. Well, listen, and then be prepared to act. So sometimes a friend is okay, actually, as long as the relationship's right between you two of you. It's that trusted relationship.
Richard, there's about 5 other topics I'd absolutely love to talk to you about. I know you're not far away from our studio, so we'd love to have you in again and talk particularly more around value-added products and premium and positioning yourself for that. So lots more to discuss with Richard Green.
Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lapp.